G'day traders, we're going to wrap up of Tuesday the 29th of May. So on the daily charts, here's the candle here we're looking at. So basically we're still in this consolidation area. Definitely still sellers market. We're sitting underneath a resistance area. So giving a little bit more weight to the sellers, but knowing that both sides have got high potential of coming in. And you'll see in the cash market soon that we did pop up above 1330, but 1330 was an area that has been holding and a couple of times and did in the pre-market and the day before. So on this particular day we did pop up, but then you'll see we head back below that as well, so we'll get into that. It's this area here where we start pushing up, so I thought around 1330 could hold, and then we just got a little bit higher, but then we pushed down lower again. You'll see with these signals that we're following as well, didn't do a wrap up on Friday. It was a live day, but due to the long weekend, very little movement, and there was no signals on that day. And then of course Monday was the public holiday in the US, so a market that you don't trade. So here we are on Tuesday. We've added to the 10-point trend 2 more trades. We had a win and a loss, making it 9 from 16. I'll take you through those in a sec. And then the second power point after the yellow came up as well, and it was a loss, so 2 from 5 with that. As for the 5-minute charts, pushing up here, looking at that first pullback of the trend. So this trend isn't with the daily, so obviously the daily's on the downside at the moment. So here where it looks to pull back, and here's where the predictive average cross. So rather than holding and potentially pushing holder and holding that trend, it's just kept on pushing downside. So I've marked it there. It's a loss, not with the dailies, and at the moment, just purely as is. It's starting to fall a bit behind. It's 5 out of 13. So we had our normal bit of a sideways period to start off with, and eventually the market picked this uptrend here. So I was saying before, 1330. When you look on the longer term markets, is an area that has tested and been held quite a few times. And this is about the 3rd, 4th time approach here. It managed to pop up, so that meant that it gave the buyers a bit of strength. So when we started to pull back here, looking for the buyers to hold at some stage and potentially get some sort of confirmation and then buy trade on the upside here. That became quite evident that wasn't the case. Especially you can see these 2 very large red candles here. So this is where the sellers really kind of came back and took control. So we've gone from a situation where we're looking for buyers to the sellers taking over. We've then come down and pushed through where they opened up the day, or this basically this cash market low. So as soon as they do that, it gives a little bit more momentum back to the downside. So we came back here again, now looking for some sort of continue or some sort of confirmation of the downside and push lower, but nothing really came, and you can see it's failed to push lower. When we actually watched the other markets, they didn't even get down as low as this, and they started popping up quite strongly. So an area where it looked like the sellers were holding was all of a sudden starting, some holding formations were starting to form, and it was evident by this area here not breaking the lows, and some of the other markets sticking a lot higher. And then this area here, especially the Russell really started to break up and got up quite early. 5-minute fade signal did come up here, so this is one that just really suited the area. All the other markets starting to push up. A fair bit of evidence that we're going up. We're starting to break through this significant little bit of a swing high area here. So you can see we'd already pushed through, so that gave the upside a bit of momentum. So what we're looking for is that confirmation of the trend which we got, get that temporary little bit of a pullback, and then take that and look for the continuation of the upside. And so this 5-minute fade worked really well. An area that I thought it could go to really quite quickly was up around here, 1331. You can see once we did break and start getting up, there's nothing holding this market from turning around and going back down. Or sorry, nothing forcing this market to turn around. It really had free will to, well, I thought, go back up to here. And you can see on the 1-minute chart, this is it here. So there's a bit of a little swing high there in an area that definitely had potential in 1331. Even though it did pull back here, it eventually did get there quite rapidly and ended up finishing back at the cash market highs. Now looking at the 1-minute chart, so here's basically this is a 10-point trend exactly, taking it from this low point here to this high point here. That's exactly 10 points. You can see 3 power points up, so I was looking for the pullback to hold. I thought this area had a lot of value at the time. Like I said, it looked like these markets want to hold and push higher because we were breaking up through resistance levels, it gave it a bit of a go, and from there, once it started breaking down and breaks this little bit of a swing low here, that's where the sellers really came in, and kind of the buyers gave way, and then it was a rush to the downside. And then you can see we've hit 1, 2, 3, 4 power points on the downside, and again this is a 10-point trend now on the downside, so that's quite evident that the sellers around. So the pullback, also the retracement power point, worked really well, and you got the continuation on the downside, so that's the winner. Obviously with the 10-point trend up here we had the loser, so that one's the loser, the purple's the winner, and then we did get the grey, so the second power point pullback after the yellow. So just as it is, it counts as a fail, but it's certainly not one of the better setups. If you ever see the purple work, the grey is not the best one to take. I think you'd get a lot better percentages if you look at taking this, only if the purple fails. From there, this is where we start getting some holding formations. So it's all through these areas here that we start to break up and bust through some resistance levels, and also the Nasdaq and the Russell were showing really good signs of pushing higher. So any sort of upward formation that you can get around here, definitely worth looking at. And 1331 is this target that thought it'd get to, and eventually it's pushed up a little bit higher than that as well. So that's a wrap up for Tuesday. I'll speak to you guys on Wednesday.